Well, Bettina, maybe you can introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you actually do?
Who am I? Okay, my name is Bettina von Zweel, and my practice is sort of quite firmly rooted in photography and installation. I also work a lot with museum collections, archives, and libraries.
For this exhibition, you've worked with the Ashmoleans' founding collections. Can you tell me a bit about the artistic process?
Yeah, sure. So I set up meetings with curators who are working in all the different museums, and to my surprise, a large part of the founding collections of the Ashmolean is in the Natural History Museum in Oxford. There is a surviving catalogue from 1656, and it published basically what was held in the Ark in Lambeth, the Ark being the collection that was assembled by the John Tredeskens. From the catalogue, we learned that there were endless natural history specimens. And there was sort of, the more I got into my research, the more questions appeared.
In quite a few projects, you have been concerned with a Wunderkammer. Can you tell me a bit about your interest in the Wunderkammer?
The Wunderkammer, it's something that I first came across during a residency in the city of Innsbruck in 2019. I came across Castle Ambras, and Castle Ambras houses apparently the oldest existing Wunderkammer that is still in its original location. I think ever since that encounter, I've been sort of hooked on the subject matter. From what I've learned, when the Ashmolean first opened in Oxford, there was a whole floor just natural history. And so I really wanted to recreate this idea of the animal kingdom being really at the center of my exhibition, which is, of course, seen through the lens of the Wunderkammer and the politics of Wunderkammer displays.
How did you then, proceed?
So the first thing I did was I photographed some of the specimens held in the Natural History Museum in Oxford. Some of them are original Tredescan objects, like, for example, we photographed an Asian elephant's molar.
Let's talk about one of the works that visitors see first when they enter the room. So there is a large photograph. It looks quite abstract. It looks almost like a kind of landscape or so, but it's actually a tea bag. Can you tell me a bit more about that series?
The series is called Sea of Troubles, taken from Hamlet, actually. And it refers to the time when tea was introduced to England, which is, interestingly, around the same time when the Tredeskens catalogue was published. And what I did is I took tea bags and then I manipulated the tea bags. So first I ironed them to make them really smooth and flat. And then I often paint them or soak them in ink, and later I might slice them, and then I light them so that they appear like silhouettes. I then experiment with different papers, and I crinkle the rice paper that it becomes more sculptural until it gets framed. The Thing series is a collection of still lifes, and each of them is created in the spirit of a Wunderkammer. So I would collect objects that I find in my surroundings or in the fridge or on my walk with the dog, and then I would arrange them in those 2 to 5 categories and place them onto sheets of glass. They're photographed from underneath, and this kind of mixture of transparency and solidity creates these kind of semi-silhouetted still lifes.
The show, of course, is a photography exhibition. We see photography in all its different shapes and forms.
I have a very ambivalent relationship with photography, so it's like a love and hate relationship, and I think that fuels my practice. This incredible potential for transformation. You can photograph the smallest insect and make it enormous, or you can photograph the moon and make it tiny, tiny.
So Bettina, this has been quite a journey. I'm very pleased with the exhibition. Thank you so much for your trust.
Yeah, sure. There's a big thank you to yourself and the Ashmolean, and I'd like to thank everyone involved in the exhibition catalogue and the production of this exhibition, and especially to my collaborators, Robert Innes Hopkins, Sophie Rickett, and David Robertson, for the work they've done.